Haldir gathers an army and, on Galadriel's orders, goes to the mines of Moria. Haldir summoned the best warriors of Lorien, 1,000 archers and almost 2,000 melee fighters. The target was the army of the Lords of Gundobad that would cross the Misty Mountains through Khazad Dum. The orcs must be intercepted before they cross Anduin and set foot on the lands of Dol Guldur. The Elves took refuge with the foliage and hid in anticipation of the army of orcs that are about to come out of the gates of Moria. By the order, the gates opened and the orcs began to leave Khazad Dum. Thousands of orcs lined up in front of the gates of Moria, waiting to continue their journey. Haldir will ambush the orcs and strike from two sides, but will the elves cope with the 10,000 orc army of Gundobad? The time came, the archers of Lorien fired the volley and rained down showers of arrows on the orcs. The enemy immediately threw all their forces at the elves. When Gundobad's entire army was tied up in battle with the first half of the elf army, Haldir could finally suddenly strike from the rear. Some of the units of the orcs come out of the battle and run towards the warriors of Haldir. The blades cut into the formation of the orcs and begin to violently chop those. The orcs were surrounded. The elves exterminate the orcs and soon the enemy will fall. However, the orcs of Gundobad were strong, so many of the elves die. The words that escaped from the encirclement are fleeing. Gradually the flight of one squad of orcs takes the form of a mass flight. Haldir lost about 400 elves in this battle. The orcs of Gundobad are crushed, but he decided not to stop there, and plans to recapture the mines of Moria. The goblins were already ready to repel the onslaught of the elves and lined up at the gates of Moria from the inside. The battle with the goblins turned out to be extremely easy. The elves calmly exterminated the goblins, which eventually led the goblins to defeat and escape. The elves go deep into the Kahar Duma. Haldir heard the trampling and shooting of thousands of goblins and orders the elves to occupy a semicircular defensive formation. "10,000 goblins, maybe even more, were rushing towards the elf positions. Haldir led his army to destruction. The archers of the Lorien Elves are hundreds of arrows every minute destroying hundreds of goblins. The Olog High became their main target. No matter how many elves chopped goblins, their number did not decrease. Thousands of fresh goblins joined the battle every hour. The elves won't last that long. Haldir himself is already losing hope of victory. Soon he will give the order to retreat. Suddenly there was a crash, the ground shook, the temperature in the halls rose, the goblins were frightened and all as one began to run. Haldir immediately understood what was going on. No more than 1,000 elves survived. The Balrog is close. Death awaits the elves. Write in the comments, will the elves of Lorien fight with the Balrog or retreat?